Good evening, tutor and classmates. My name is Jonathan Jose Paredes Puche. I am degree student in foreign language with an emphasis on English in sixth semester. Before I start, the reason why I do this work individually is because of the lack of the time to communication that there was on my part with my groupmates. Without more to say, I start the activity. Uh, to put an, to put into context, September 11 in 2001 went from a beautiful, clear day to one of the gloomiest in American history. Near 20 extremists hijacked four commercial airlines off the East Coast and crashed them into a twin towers in New York, the Pentagon in Washington, and one more that fell on an open field in Pennsylvania. Almost 3,000 people died, and the story split in two of nations. Today, 20 years later, the wounds remain for open witness and survivors. The first question says, has Americans overcome the 9/11 events? My answer is no. The Americans still do not forget the events of 9/11. In the days after the September 11th attacks, American state offshore rapidly morphed into a cause for revenge. Even before the war of terror spread around the world, Arab and Muslim Americans felt the backlash at home, and many in New York City are still step in a sentiment. The second question is, are Americans still concerned about the terrorist threats? My answer is Americans live with the constant talk that something bad will happen again, like another attack or innocent people. In short, they feel completely unsafe in their own country. That's the reason why some attacks, some people start to do hate crimes against the Muslims. The next question is, how have Muslims and Americans' lives changed after the 9/11 events? According to New Yorkers and Americans in general, they believe that the root of these dangers comes from the Islam. This is a religion and this says encourages violence a lot. Different anti-Muslim hate crimes have also been shown, like I said before. Anti-Muslim hate crimes of have a unique characteristic that distinguishes them from the other hate crimes. These hate crimes are directed against persons of property as society or perceived to be associated with Muslims. The hate crimes occur through the OSCE region. However, these crimes are underdeveloped for numerous reasons. Recognize the magnitude and nature problem for the first step to being able to solve them effectively. Since 2002, OSCE participating states have explicitly condemned acts of discrimination and violence against Muslims and strongly reject the identification of terrorists and extremists with any religion or culture. Before 2001, there are no crimes against Muslims, but after what happened, the annual figures show that populations has crimes between 200 to 400 per year. The highest percent in 2001 with almost 500 hate crimes. The next question is, what is the American government doing to reduce the threat feeling of the community? At the time, the president candidate Donald Trump deliberately placed the concerns of the people, especially his citizens, about the threats to the Muslims living in the United States in some of his speeches, but nothing else happens. And the last question say, what is the opinion of some politicians about the war after the 9/11? The patriotic sentiment surged aftermath of the 9/11, after the U.S. and the Allies launched airstrikes against the Taliban and Al-Qaeda forces in early October 2001. 79% of adults say they have displayed American flag. A year later, 62% majority say they have often felt patriotic as a result of the 9/11 attacks. Moreover, the public lately set aside a political difference and rallied in a support of nation, major institutions, as well as the political leadership. In October 2001, 60% of adults expressed trust in the federal government, a level not reached in the previous 3 decades, not approached in 2 decades since then. George Bush, who had become the president 9 months earlier after the fiercely contested election, saw his job approval rise 35 percent points in the space of 3 weeks. Late, late in September in 2001, 86% of adults, including nearly Republicans and citizens majority of Democrats, approved of the way Bush was handling his job as a president. And that's it. Thank you so much for listening.